The main reason that we do it in the gym is to teach you guys how to control movements and brace appropriately and feel where your body is in space while you're in the middle of the movement. A lot of times people just drop into a squat and all of a sudden their heels come up and they're standing on their toes by the time they get to the bottom of the squat. Well, you don't realize that until you're down in the bottom and you're just pushing off your toes to come back up. Whereas if you're working at a tempo, as you're going down slowly, you're taking a checklist of, is my chest up? Are my hips sitting down between my heels, or are my heels up in the air, or do I have all my weight on my heels and I'm trying to lift my toes up? Like, those are all things that we're trying to avoid. So you're gonna make sure you have that tripod foot connected to the floor, ball of the foot and the heel, and sitting back into your squat to a full depth position. That's especially why we hold the bottom position a lot, to get comfortable in that full depth position. And also to be able to kind of breathe through reps sometimes, because when you're almost out of breath, sometimes you do have to breathe in the middle of a rep. You can't just breathe, take a breath in at the top, hold it, and then stand up with it. You know, sometimes you might need to get to the point where you kind of have to exhale a little bit while still keeping that pressure.
Yeah, I think from a coaching perspective, like, I know you just said all of that stuff that, you know, kind of goes through our heads as coaches. You know, we know there's probably no way we could explain all of that to everybody in a class and still have time to actually do the stuff.
Yeah.
But, you know, when we prescribe a tempo, like, that, for one,
Takes care of
all that stuff happens.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we may not have to say all of those things, but that's really what it's training you to do. So, yeah, it's just a really good teaching tool. And, well, learning tool. Maybe not even teaching tool, but it's a really good learning tool. You learn a lot about your posture and your where you're at in space and time. What were you thinking?
I was just going to ask, I have heard that like ligaments don't get, or they take longer to get stronger, and that negatives or like the tempo stuff helps. Is that something that's true, or is that just BS?
Yeah, there's a little bit of valid argument there. I don't know the super like sciencey thing behind it. Eccentric training does put more strain on your tendons and ligaments than it does on the actual muscle for certain movements and certain things. So that slow eccentric, your tendon is really holding and releasing or contracting slowly while you're under that eccentric, and so that helps build that tendon and ligament strength, which is super important, especially if you know, that's how people kind of tear things, when they just kind of like bounce away at things and aren't paying attention. When your muscles become stronger than what your tendons can support, that's where those separations happen.
Like that.
Also a side effect of steroid use and super high training that can happen there.